Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 2 Congress letters regarding MMTLP. We're also going to be looking at updates with regard to some broker issues, and we're also going to be doing a review of the weekly watch list. So before we get started, first headline here in terms of the markets from Market Watch. We can see here that rising yields have put the S&P 500 on pace for the biggest monthly loss of 2023 as investors brace for the Fed Chair Powell's Jackson Hole speech. So that speech will be critical for the markets. And headline here from Fox Business, and this kind of really summarizes what the market is about right now. And it states here, inflation stands as the biggest hurdle to overcoming a painful economy, from Nancy Lazar. So I do agree with that. I think once the markets and the government are aware that inflation is strongly under control and on a significant downwards trend, I think we will see a good bounce in the market. And other thing I'd like to share with you is another big week for earnings. And Monday after close we have earnings from Zoom. Tuesday we have earnings from Dick's Sporting Goods. We also have Tough Build. Wednesday we have probably the biggest one of the week, and that is Nvidia. We also have Foot Locker. Thursday we have Marvel in the after hours. So a huge week for earnings, which we will be looking at. Let's now have a look at the letter from Pete Sessions, and shout out here to Mr. Bagelman, who's posted, Congressman Pete Sessions, thank you so much for your letter sent out today. Pete Sessions and the Financial Committee, the MMTLP community greatly appreciates you all. So we're going to delve into the letter. So this letter is dated August the 14th, 2023, and it's addressed to a person by the name of Matthew. So what Pete Sessions has stated in this letter is, first of all, he's acknowledged that the issue is highly emotional, controversial, and he wants to avoid confusion of the facts. He's also stated the letter he's writing is to serve 2 purposes. First, to acknowledge you engaged with my office. So he's acknowledging Matthew's letter to Pete and obviously confirming receipt of that. And he said the second is to provide important details about the issue. So he's going to address and obviously he believes that these are now being addressed by the appropriate regulators, which will be the SEC. Further down, what he has stated with regard to FINRA, he stated FINRA is the regulator of the OTC market and has to take action to address irregularities with symbols on the OTC market. So yes, we are aware that there were irregularities, and we also are aware in terms of the Freedom of Information Act that FINRA and the SEC were also aware of allegations of fraud, and they were investigating fraud. So I think that should be obviously mentioned in any investigation, so FINRA can specifically clarify what this fraud was that they were looking at and why it was obviously brought to their attention, and what it was specifically, because so far we have not had any details. So it's gone on to say FINRA halted trading of MMTLP December the 8th after the trading day closed to allow 2 days for trades to be settled before the stock transaction. Action was taken to comply with the US SEC rule defining the T+2 settlement and was an appropriate course of action due to irregular trading activity. So I'm not sure where Pete is coming from here. Some broker-dealers advise investors of the necessity to sell shares in MMTLP prior to December the 8th to comply with the SEC rules. So again, I'm not sure about that, but what I would like to say with regard to this is that FINRA were aware of the dates months and months in advance. The SEC were aware of the dates months and months in advance, and if they believed that there was going to be an issue with regard to T+2 settlement, then this should not have been addressed on December the 8th. This should have been addressed much earlier to avoid the whole MMTLP fiasco that we have right now. So that is really my main concern with regard to that point that Pete is addressing. He's gone on to say in the second part of the letter, many investors did not heed these warnings or were not aware of that notification. What I would personally say is that many investors were expecting the SEC rules of trading to obviously apply fairly not only to retail investors but to shorts, where obviously it is a requirement for them to close their positions, and it's also a requirement for brokers to close on their behalf, because obviously they have signed up to agree to infinite loss. So that is something that is also a rule. So he goes on to say, if FINRA did not halt trading on December the 8th, it's likely that any trades made on December the 9th through to December 12th would not have settled in time. But the question is, whose fault is that? And why the dates were shared months and months in advance. So the question should be, why did FINRA, the SEC, not fix these dates months in advance rather than a sudden U3 halt? It's not as though they can say, we were not aware of the dates. They were aware of the dates, and the U3 halt could have been avoided by obviously allowing trading up to even to the 14th of December to allow this T+2 settlement, if that was the concern, and if they wanted to avoid uncertainty in the markets. That would have been much better to allow the trades to close. That didn't happen. That would have been obviously a much better solution. So he's also stated here, currently there's ongoing litigation in federal courts between MMTLP and FINRA. Yes, there certainly is. Now he's talking about the Wells notice. He says July the 20th, the SEC issued a Wells notice to current and former CEOs of Meta Materials. He's talking about obviously John Berder and George Palikaros as well, requesting additional information about the MMTLP transaction. And it's interesting that Pete has put this in bold. Request for more information about transactions, which often precedes a formal investigation and enforcement action. So currently it's not enforcement, and currently it's not a formal investigation. It's just a request for information. So I would presume that George Palikaros and John Berder will provide this information, and hopefully we will get then a response or an update from the SEC. So he's also stated here, I led a letter to the SEC along with several colleagues from the House Financial Services Committee requesting a full investigation into the facts, circumstances surrounding MMTLP, and for this, Pete, I will give you full credit and obviously acknowledgement and thanks on behalf of the MMTLP community. I think this is something positive. I think other points in your letter may be down to misunderstanding, misinterpretation, because it is a complicated story. But if we get somebody with a bit of understanding of financial markets looking at this and recognizing that the dates were shared in advance, then hopefully we can get a little bit of impartial analysis and judgment on this. And he's also stated, I will continue to examine the facts of the situation. So overall, there are a few inconsistencies in the letter, but I'm still going to give the benefit of the doubt to Pete. And the reason for that is because he has signed and he's had led that letter with the 15 members. So there is a little bit of obviously disagreement in this letter, which we've talked about, but the matter is not yet over. So shout out in terms of Meta News here, reaction to that, and they've stated evidence brokers admitted shareholders can sell their MMTLP shares. Pete Sessions, you are ignoring that many brokers said to their customers FINRA changed the dates to the S1, and FINRA ghosted the meeting regarding the halt with the DTCC. So again, very important points here, and hopefully these will be addressed. Let's now move on to the second Congress letter, and this is to Republican John Sabanes. So shout out here to NBH MMTLP, who posted special thanks to my Republican John Sabanes. So let's have a look at the letter here shared by NBH MMTLP, and we can see here what the Republican has said is, Dear Mr. Yon, thank you for contacting me to express your concern about FINRA's actions. I appreciate hearing about you and with regard to this important issue. So this is dated August the 18th, 2023. And John has stated, in order to be of assistance to you on this particular issue. I've contacted the appropriate officials at the SEC, urging a careful review of this matter, so this is positive. As soon as I am provided with a response, I will certainly let you know. Again, appreciate hearing from you, and do not hesitate to contact me. So if anybody has got the ear of John Sabanas, I'm hoping if he's not already on the letter of the 15 congressmen, that he can be added. So again, special thanks to John Sabanas for this message. And another important post I'd like to share with you is from Kay Kep, who posted, "I don't often ask, but I'm going to ask for people to share and retweet." So this is the post. It states here, "Congress is well aware of the recipients of the well notice did not initiate trading of MMTLP. Where is the market maker investigation? Who initiated trading of MMTLP? And where is the audited aggregate share count?" So I think these are very important questions that Congress should be asking the SEC, and in the end, any investigation. These are very simple questions that they should be addressing with clarity. And the last update I'm going to share with you here is from Richard Hoffman, who stated, "Motion for discovery against Fidelity tonight, discussed in his live stream with Mr. Tiny JR, 6:30 Eastern Time." Let's now move on to have a look at some broker issues. So what I posted earlier was with regard to Merrill Lynch, and I stated any investors with Merrill Lynch have been successful in transferring MMTLP stock to AST. I'm hearing that Merrill are saying this cannot be done. So this was in response to one of the members in the Discord who stated he did have a problem with Merrill Lynch. So shout out here to Splotatico, who stated same problem with obviously the other person. "They can't transfer my shares to AST. Can you make a video on how to transfer my shares privately to AST, especially for people residing in Europe? If it is possible, and what steps need to be done with regard to this?" So what I have stated is, obviously, thanks for the update, moving shares to AST is something that brokers have to do, and something that they have to help you with, and many brokers so far in Europe are not obviously doing that. So they are holding our shares in street name, and so far refusing to help with any move to AST. So we will be covering this obviously more in upcoming videos, and we're also going to be covering trying to put more pressure on the brokers to do this. So the next shout out here is to Meta Warrior, who stated, "Scotia iTrade in Canada have not executed NextBridge Hydrocarbons transfer request to AST. Stonewalling, managers do not return calls. What is the share count?" So again, it's not just European brokers, we are getting them elsewhere as well. And what Johnny has stated here is, Johnny's obviously in Europe, and he stated he's with DeGiro in Ireland, and Morgan Stanley has the shares, and DeGiro are sending his shares to AST. So all good for Johnny. So we do, obviously, in terms of Trading 212, no updates to share for them. So again, we're still waiting for them to provide an update. However, as the S1 is still not yet effective, obviously there is still time to do that in terms of move the shares. However, I am aware that brokers are setting their own internal deadlines for them to transfer, and this is not really great, because it's putting undue pressure on retail investors to make a decision. So I would urge many brokers to consider more flexibility in their deadlines. Finally, I'd like to finish off by sharing a quick review of our weekly watch list. So this is something shared exclusively with the Discord members prior to trading on the Monday. So in the previous week, we called out stocks such as APRN, that was up 45.6% on the week, and that was the best call. TSAT, that was up 13.4%, so congratulations to everybody who got in on that. ETON, that was up 14.2% on the week, with also a chance to get a 29% return at one time. INOD, that was up 3.4% on the week. CSCO, that was up 2.3% on the week. VFF, that was up 7% on the week. AKRO, up 7% on the Monday, but it did close down 1.5% on the week, so not all calls are successful. KORE, identified as quite a volatile stock, giving 3 opportunities to get 8% plus returns in the week, but it did close down 13.2% on the week. And we also have daily stock alerts, where we've been covering stocks such as TTOO, and also we looked at GNS, which has been extremely volatile this week. So in order to get the next weekly watch list, you can certainly join us. Details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.